Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Giridharadhari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Jana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Jana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Jana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Jana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Vishnu Pata Mahansa Parivraj Acharya Astara Sata Shishimad Divine Grace AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnu Pata Mahansa Parivraj Acharya Astara Sata Shishimad Divine Grace Shri Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, are you giving class or is?
No, he asked me to give classes morning.
Okay, nice. Ananta Goti Vaishnavina Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shevita Gradar Shri Sadi Guru Bhaktavrina Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kundarara Kundagiri Govarana Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dama Ki Jai, Mathur Dama Ki Jai, Navadur Dama Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dama Ki Jai, Jagannath Pridama Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktavrina Ki Jai, Jai Gaur
Hari 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 Bol.
All glories to the Samavaris, Hare Krishna. All glories to the
Hare
Samavaris, Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. All glories to the Samavaris, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri
Shri Guru
Gauranga.
Gauranga, Gauri Shri Prabhupada, Namo Vishnu Paraya, Krishna Prishthaya, Bhutale Shimara Bhutara Samana Namaste, Saraswati Gaurava Namacharya, Krishna Shri Sri Hare Krishna, welcome to the morning live stream and Expand the Bliss. This is Maitreya Rishi Dasa, coming at you live from London, South London Bliss Temple. Do we have everything working, audio, visual? Let me know in the comments who's watching today. Shamdai, Mataji, Bronwyn, Dennis. Love to see Dennis here every day. So nice. Dennis is probably advancing so much in his knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. Upendra, Michelle, all the regulars. That's great. Gabriella, Hare Krishna. Richie. Okay, Richie's here. That's great. Nice to see. Thanks, Richie. Thanks, Gabriella. I'm going to accept your friend request today. Doris, Hare Krishna, Doris. So thanks so much for coming. Prabhus and Matajis, kindly help us by sharing this live stream as much as possible. It's very easy. You can see here, Shamdai Mataji is doing it very nicely. You just put the name of one of your friends with an @ symbol before. Don't worry, even if they unfriend you because you're tagging them so much, they weren't a real friend. They don't understand the benefit of getting tagged in this live stream, coming to the live stream and hearing this Srimad Bhagavatam, because someone gets so much benefit if they just hear a little bit of this philosophy. That's why we're so much encouraging the tagging, because by tagging you're actually giving a great gift to people. So this is not just a ritual that we say please tag, but this is actually something very, very important that you can do not only for yourself but especially for others by having them come to this class on the ancient literature, the glorification of Sri Krishna in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So today we're going to continue our discussion of the spiritual world, the kingdom of God, in 3rd canto, 15th chapter. And today, okay, so because yesterday I was doing a class in French. Not that I was speaking in French, but my wife was speaking in French, and I was giving a class. So I don't know where we are. Maxim, Hare Krishna Maxim, thanks for coming. Nice to see you, Prabhuji. Where were you yesterday? You said you would come 100%. Yeah. Text 14, probably.
Yeah, this one, similar form. This is where I ended up, so 15.
Okay, so text 15 of chapter 15 in the third canto, Hare Krishna. Narsingh. Narsingh is hardcore. I think he's come to every single class in this morning class for like over a year. It's very cool. Thank you, Narsingh, for being here. So, 3:15:15. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you, Rudra Prakash. Yatra chadayaha pumam aste Bhagavan Shabda Gocharaha Sattvam Vishtabhya Virajam Svanam no Mridayan Vrishaha. Yatra, in the Vaikuntha planets, Cha, and, Adyaha, original, Puman, person, Aste, is there, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shabda Gocharaha, understood through the Vedic literature, Sattvam, the mode of goodness, Vishtabhya, accepting, Virajam, uncontaminated, Svanam, of his own associates, Naha, us, Mridayan, increasing happiness, Vrishaha, the personification of religious principles. Hare Krishna, Tony. Nice to see Tony here. And Neil. Translation. In the Vaikuntha planets is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original person and who can be understood through the Vedic literature. Sorry, can you close this door that connects the stairway to the temple room, because it's too loud, the class, and it's also cold. Okay, starting again. In the Vaikuntha planets is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original person and who can be understood through the Vedic literature. He is full of the uncontaminated mode of goodness, with no place for passion or ignorance. Thank you. He contributes religious progress for the devotees. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Purport. The kingdom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual sky cannot be understood by any process other than hearing from the description of the Vedas. No one can go see it. In this material world, also, one who is unable to pay to go to a far distant place by motorized conveyances can only understand about that place from authentic books. Similarly, the Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky are beyond the material sky. The modern scientists who are trying to travel in space are having difficulty going even to the nearest planet, the Moon, to say nothing of the highest planets within the universe. There is no possibility that they can go beyond the material sky, enter the spiritual sky, and see for themselves the spiritual planets Vaikuntha. Therefore, the kingdom of God in the spiritual sky can be understood only through the authentic descriptions of the Vedas and Puranas. In the material world, there are three modes of material qualities: goodness, passion, and ignorance. But in the spiritual world, there is no trace of the modes of passion and ignorance. There is only the mode of goodness, which is uncontaminated by any tinge of ignorance or passion. In the material world, even if a person is completely in goodness, he is sometimes subject to be polluted by tinges of the modes of ignorance and passion. But in the Vaikuntha world, the spiritual sky, only the mode of goodness in its pure form exists. The Lord and his devotees reside in the Vaikuntha planets, and they are of the same transcendental quality, namely Shuddha Sattva, the mode of pure goodness. The Vaikuntha planets are very dear to the Vaishnavas, and for the progressive march of the Vaishnavas toward the kingdom of God, the Lord himself helps his devotees. Hare Krishna, Rocky. Thank you for coming. And Yvonne also. Om Agyanatirinandasyam Gyananya Shalakayam Chakshunun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, has kindly opened my darkened eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His lotus feet. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, let us break this down. There's a lot to digest here in this rich purport from Srila Prabhupada. So, the kingdom of God, Vaikuntha, this is the eternal world, eternal atmosphere. Not just eternal, but the pure atmosphere. We are living in the material atmosphere, this material world. So we are governed, all living entities, all forms, actually everything in the material world, is governed by the three modes. So mode, modus operandi in Latin. Mode means the way in which a thing operates. So according to the particular mode, the phenomena within nature is acting in a particular way. I discussed this a few days ago, that according to the modes, there are divisions of form. So, for example, in the human form, you have those who are in tamas, rajas, and sattva. They're in ignorance, passion, or goodness. And someone in ignorance is very lazy, prone to sleep a great deal, very unclean in his habits, has very less intelligence. He doesn't even know how to enjoy in the material sense. He is basically rotting. Then someone in the mode of passion is very, very active to enjoy material nature, has lots of energy, lots of the word passion, we can understand just from the connotation. And then someone in the mode of goodness is more situated in the mind, in the intellect. And so he's not so busy like a fool, acting for sense gratification. He prefers to either philosophize or worship the Lord in the best case, or to help others materially. He is not so selfish. But that is also, so long we're in the material world, even the mode of goodness, which is the highest mode of operation, that can also become, and it is, contaminated by the lower modes. So we see that even someone who is very charitable, very magnanimous, who has lots of money, he is also contaminated by the lower modes, just like Bill Gates. So Bill Gates is a very wealthy man, and he has created some charity, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So they have cured so many diseases. They're working on curing polio and so on. So that is because when you have so much money, then you are not so much concerned with your selfish desires. When we're impoverished and when we're weak, we can only think of ourselves because we're trying to survive. But when you're very well situated, materially even, then you can focus on the well-being of other living entities. Materially. We're talking materially here. But the same principle applies spiritually. The more you become spiritually situated, peaceful, happy in your Krishna consciousness, the more freely you can distribute this knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So that is why advancement, purification, is very important if we want to preach. But that's besides the point I'm making now. So Bill Gates, he is very charitable, very munificent to the living entities in the material sense, but hypocritically, he is eating meat. So on one hand, he gives so much money to cure people of their diseases, and on the other hand, he's responsible for slitting the throats of other living entities just so he can enjoy. So this is a contamination. Yes, there is some goodness there. He wants to help other people. He's more intellectual, but he is killing other living entities. So that is ignorance, passion. He's contaminated. So in the material world, the modus operandi, the different modes of nature, are governing everything, and even in the highest sense, in the most purified mode, the mode of goodness, it's contaminated by these other two modes. They're always competing for supremacy, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes the mode of goodness is prominent, sometimes the rajas, the passion is prominent, and sometimes the ignorance is prominent. There is never a time where you can be purely situated in goodness, purely situated in passion. It's always fluctuating, because that is the nature of material world. It's always changing. So, therefore there is also no peace. There's no peace, because these different modes are competing all the time. We're aiming for that peacefulness. We're aiming for that constant goodness, where there is, because in the mode of goodness there is a perception of happiness, there is peace of mind, there is forward thinking, calmness. That is a nice situation. If everyone is in the mode of goodness, then there will not be bickering over insignificant things, there will not be theft, there will not be unnecessary sense gratification, exploitation of other living entities. So people, they like very much this mode of goodness. That is why intellectuals and charitable people are very much respected in society. Although we live in a society of demons, still, people who are charitable, people who are philosophical, people who are highly religious are still held in a high esteem, because the mode of goodness is very attractive, because it will bring auspicious atmosphere. But in the material world, it is not possible. And we can see that so many of these so-called people who are in the mode of goodness, they become fallen. They become involved in some scandal or like that. So it is not possible to have this peaceful atmosphere without Krishna consciousness. When one comes to Krishna consciousness, then these lower tinges, they start to disappear from the heart. When we engage in Krishna consciousness, we progress towards the pure mode of goodness. Because ignorance and passion are there because we want to enjoy ourselves. We have a selfish desire. So that's why even this material mode of goodness is also contaminated, because so long one is not liberated from the bodily concept of life, he must desire to enjoy his material body. So all these, the mode of goodness is simply a semblance of the real mode of goodness. We can see that these rich people, they want to, or they at least act in such a way that it appears that they're helping people. But because he, A, does not have knowledge of the soul, so he can only help the body, and B, because he's selfish, because he's still motivated by the desire for labha, puja, and pratishtha, for worship, for greed, and for distinction, that so-called help of others is simply on the material bodily platform. If we want to come to the real mode of goodness, which means true selflessness in the sense that we are free for the desire for sense gratification in our service, you can say service to others. Of course, we do not emphasize service to others. We emphasize service to Krishna, because when we serve Krishna, others are automatically served. But when one serves Krishna, he does serve others. If you want to serve others, then you must learn how to serve Krishna, because that will give the real benefit to others. So he becomes free from selfish desires, the devotee, someone who is progressing in his advancement of Krishna consciousness, becomes free from selfish desires, and then that pure goodness becomes prominent. And that pure goodness is very, very auspicious. Because so long someone is contaminated by material desires, he cannot be trusted. As soon as they say power corrupts, so we can see many big politicians, they had these good ideals, but then when they get the power, when they get the opportunity, they again become rascals and they misuse it. So only a pure devotee can become a real leader of society, because he's free from these selfish desires. So this pure mode of goodness is very much desirable. And here it is mentioned, we're discussing the spiritual world. So if we want to enter into the spiritual world, if we want to be free from birth, death, old age, and disease, and be in an atmosphere which is simply pleasurable all the time, eternally, without any discrepancy in that pleasure, that is the spiritual world. That is Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means freedom from anxiety. Kunta means anxiety, and Vai is the negative form. So if we want to be in this atmosphere of Vaikuntha, anxiety-less atmosphere, then we have to come to this mode of pure goodness, because the inhabitants of the spiritual world are completely situated in this mode of goodness. That means that they are not motivated or disturbed by lust, greed, anger, illusion, envy, madness, these different material diseases. And because they're not disturbed by these selfish, materialistic ideals and emotions, the atmosphere in Vaikuntha is very wonderful. The devotees, we cannot even conceive how nicely they are interacting with one another. They are experiencing transcendental bliss and love and pure, uncontaminated relationships with one another in connection with Krishna. And of course, they enjoy a very wonderful and ever increasingly pleasurable relationship with Krishna himself in a pure devotional attitude of service. So unless we come to this pure mode of goodness, we cannot enter that atmosphere. We will not be allowed entry. That is the requirement, that is the bar minimum for entering the spiritual world, because Krishna doesn't want any disturbance there. It's such a nice atmosphere. If someone comes and he's motivated by material desires, if he has a tendency to fall into the lower modes, then he disturbs this very serene and perfect transcendental atmosphere of Vaikuntha, of the spiritual world. So in order for us to be qualified to go there, we must qualify ourselves to the pure mode of goodness. This is just like you can see this actually in our modern world, because whenever there are higher echelons of society, more advanced, more wealthy, well-to-do societies, more cultured societies, they do not allow any damn nonsense to come into that society. So I'm not going to glorify Dubai. Of course, Dubai is a city of all kinds of debauches and rascals. But materially speaking, Dubai is the wealthiest city in the world. And it's very clean. And you will not see ever any homeless person there, some crazy person. I mean, crazy in the relative sense, that someone is truly mad or intoxicated in the streets and like that. There is very less theft and crime and low-class people. Of course, there's all kinds of theft going on in a higher sense. There's bankers and people who are exploiting and running factories and so on and making money. So you can say in one sense they're also thieves. But this very low-class, petty crime and so on, you will not find, because they filter the inhabitants very carefully. If you want to enter Dubai, you have to have a certain amount of income, you have to verify, you have to follow strict rules in order to keep the situation peaceful. So we can see that if you want to enter into a more ideal society, you have to rectify your behavior, you have to qualify. So what to speak of the spiritual world? That is the absolute perfect atmosphere where everyone is eternally enjoying and is eternally situated in the perfect behavior of a Vaishnava, in the pure mode of goodness. So one has to qualify to enter into that atmosphere. It's not so cheap. But if we practice Krishna consciousness, if we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, if we read Srila Prabhupada's books, and if we engage in austerities like preaching work, because the preaching work is very purifying, you can get a direct perception of your own behavior and how it affects others and like that. So when we engage in the devotional service, Krishna himself will help us. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that he lights up the heart of the devotee with the torchlight of knowledge. And Srila Prabhupada says in the purport to that verse that when a devotee makes some mistake, the Lord rectifies him from within. You see, because Krishna wants us to go back to the spiritual world. He is testing us, yes, but it's not that Krishna doesn't want us to come. Krishna wants us to come, but he doesn't want us to disturb. So he's encouraging us and he will rectify us. And when you do something nonsense in Krishna consciousness, you will feel, if you're really chanting, you will feel the super soul, Krishna, within your heart is pinching you to rectify this. Don't do this. Don't speak like this. Don't think like this. You should do this. If you're slacking in your spiritual practice, you will feel the super soul pinching. So you should follow that because that is Krishna pushing you towards this mode of goodness, purified goodness, by which you can enter into the spiritual world. So it is not automatic. Our spiritual life is not automatic. It is a very personal and careful process, introspective process, where we have to see for ourselves whether or not we're becoming enriched by Vaishnava qualities, whether or not we're becoming free from envy and lust, whether or not we're becoming actually good devotees with a service attitude and we respect the devotees and we're developing devotion to Krishna. We have to check for these things. They cannot be forced, they cannot be practiced also artificially. You cannot simply externally perform, act in such a way, but that can also help, but it will not qualify you. You must actually come to that platform really, spontaneous platform. That is not so easy thing. That is attained by service to the spiritual master, sincere service to the spiritual master. Then these qualities, they become truly manifest because the material modes, they diminish, and then automatically, as the modes become, as you become unentangled from the modes, the spirit soul can express itself more. Your actual self becomes more manifested. So it's not an artificial process. Of course, that does not mean we should not act nicely, but acting is not enough. You must actually perform service and become really purified. And if you're not becoming purified, you should be inquisitive as to why you're not becoming purified. And you should try more stringently to be attentive in your devotional practices, to read more, to preach, to chant more attentively, and so on. And by doing this, you will become closer to this mode of goodness. So, here, Srila Prabhupada says that the Vaikuntha planets, all these descriptions of this world, how we're speaking so confidently that in the spiritual world it is like this, the devotees are acting in such a way. Such a nice atmosphere I'm talking about. How can we know this? Well, someone might challenge you if you're describing all these things. Someone might challenge. How can you prove this? So that is a foolish argument, because even in this world, if you have never been to, let's say, Japan is a good example actually, because Japan has very many interesting cultural quirks that are not in the Western world. They have like ice cream, weird things like ice cream vending machines and bullet trains that go 500 kilometers per hour, and they have the way they say hello is by bowing, and all kinds of weird cultural phenomena. So you might not believe me if I describe all these things. So that is your problem. Those things are going on. I may have been to Japan. I can see those things. You cannot see. Of course, you can buy some ticket and go there, but until you do that, you simply have to trust the information from authoritative sources. Authoritative source means someone who has been there. Or books that describe that place, also written by someone who knows. So this is true materially. Why? Of course it is true spiritually. The spiritual planets, you cannot even go there. You can go to Japan. You can buy a ticket. Any damn nonsense can go and see for himself. But the spiritual world, you cannot. No one in this material world has gone to the spiritual world by buying some ticket or by buying some machine. As Srila Prabhupada says here in the purport, even the other planets people have not gone to. Just like the moon planet. So nowadays there's a big hype. Mr. Elon Musk is building the SpaceX program, and he's being very frustrated in that regard because his rocket ships are constantly exploding. But everyone, they're trying to go to the other planets. They're spoiling this planet. So much pollution, contamination, just wars, exploiting all the resources, drying up the planet of water, oil, animals, destroying the rainforest. So, but then they go and they want to go to some other planet and destroy that planet also. So this foolish endeavor is going on, and of course, for many decades they've been saying that we've gone to the moon. They simply go to this moon and they pick up some rocks and some dust every time, the same thing. How many moon missions there have been? I don't know, 8 moon missions, I think. So they go every single time, they do a little fun, they play some golf and drive a buggy, and they crack some jokes, and and then what is the result? They bring some dust, they come back, and they've taken, $56 billion, $100 billion from the tax-paying public to pay for these endeavors. It's all false propaganda, simply an excuse to steal the money from the innocent citizens and bewilder them with smoke and mirrors. Or don't ignore all the problems that are happening in society, how our government is irresponsible, how we're not actually solving the problems of society. So just look at this moon landing and be very nicely distracted, and give us also money on the side. So this is going on, and no one has ever actually gone to that moon planet. If you really think they've gone to the moon, just examine your position. You don't believe in the description of the spiritual world because it's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. You cannot see. But have you seen the moon? You simply believe it because you saw on television. So your belief is going on. You believe in the television that they went to some moon, although it's so badly faked, any sane person can look at that footage and see that it's nonsense. But still people are believing, they're wearing these NASA shirts, they're giving money. Ridiculous. But when we give authorized descriptions from Srimad Bhagavatam, this ancient literature, approved literature, they will not believe. So this is a nonsense. But anyway, they're not going to this moon planet, and they cannot go to any other planet because they are not qualified to enter. Just like you have to be qualified to enter any particular country, you have to qualify yourself, you have to have the requirements, you have to have the right behavior. In the same way, you have to qualify yourself in the pure mode of goodness to enter the spiritual world. You also have to be incrementally purified to go to these other higher planetary systems within the material world. You will not be allowed entry. Even if you want to go to America, that's so difficult. Those border guards, they're barking like dogs. They will interrogate you. What do you want? We don't trust you. Are you a terrorist? Where do you go? Why did you go there? That's a contradiction. And it's very difficult. I know, because I was not a non-American citizen and living in America, so I would have to go regularly. So that's very difficult to enter into America. What to speak of entering into some other planetary system? You're a complete alien. They will reject you immediately. The spiritual world also, you cannot force your entry. So they cannot go even to these other material planets, and they want to try to verify the existence of the spiritual world. So that is bogus, and that is not possible. Sorry, it's so cold. Is the kitchen door open, or it's too cold? It's too cold. The kitchen door is open, or now this door is open? So this description of spiritual world is there. Description of the process, how to enter the spiritual world is there. Simply, you require to shift your faith from NASA propaganda to Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam. And then your progress becomes very easy. But because we lack faith, we've been conditioned to put faith in material science and so-called authorities in this material world, we find it difficult to put faith in the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam and bona fide spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. So because we're conditioned in this way, when we hear these descriptions, when we hear the process, it's difficult for us to feel enthusiastic and commit. But by philosophical understanding of our position, we can gradually give up these attachments and conditionings and surrender more to this process and these descriptions. So I will end the class here. If anyone has any questions, you can ask. Hare Krishna Morgan, thank you for coming. Must be very early there for you in the US. Unless you're on the east side, I guess it's fairly reasonable. Let's see if there's any questions on YouTube. Oh, okay. YouTube has viewers. That's nice. Thanks. Kevin, Ian, Frank, and someone typing in Cyrillic that I wish I could read, but I cannot. Where can we buy original Prabhupada's Bhagavatam? Yeah, I don't exactly know what you mean by original, but Srila Prabhupada, he translated Bhagavatam. He hand-typed the first canto. It's called the Delhi Bhagavatam, Delhi edition. So that is Srila Prabhupada's direct type manuscript. So that is as original as you can get, of course, because original means what the author himself has written. So if you want original Bhagavatam, this Delhi Bhagavatam is as close as you can get. Morgan, I'm late, sorry, in the middle, at work. Okay, that's no problem. What do you do, Prabhu? What do you do for work? First published version while Prabhupada's still on earth. Yeah, this is Delhi Bhagavatam. This is the first published version. Delhi Bhagavatam, first canto, that is original. That can be purchased online. I think this BBT library services, we also have, actually, we can send you, we have some copies of this book, so we can send you. You just ask our Nityananda Prabhu and we can send you this Delhi Bhagavatam. I'm a nurse's assistant. Oh, interesting. You work in the hospital? There you can get many realizations of Krishna consciousness in a hospital. I will also have to go a couple of days. Hare Krishna, Ivan. I want to give it to an old Christian guy I know. Okay, that's nice. So yeah, just ask Nityananda Prabhu. He can hook you up with a copy of this Delhi Bhagavatam. I was just seeing we have upstairs. You also have this experience, eh, Morgan? Yeah, you have Veda base also, but that is not so, I'll just say, congenial for distribution. Okay, Gabriella Itchim, Hare Krishna Gabriella, thank you for listening. You have a question. Why people are more attracted to worship bogus gurus than bona fide spiritual masters? That is not very unusual because this is the material world. So material world means we have come here to enjoy bogus things. We have come here to enjoy material pleasure. So vast majority of people living in this material world are not interested in spiritual life. They're not interested in surrender, in purification, in Krishna consciousness at all. Their interest in so-called Krishna consciousness is, oh, Krishna consciousness is very nice because there's opulent temples, there are beautiful women or boys, there is some fame, and there is easy living, because if I live in a temple, then I can sleep and eat very nicely for minimal cost. And it's a very pleasant culture, this kirtan, these instruments, it's all very nice. So this can be materially also very pleasing. The spiritual aspect of it is more subtle. So mostly people are interested in material gain. Of course, if they approach Krishna somehow or other, that is also beneficial for them, but yeah, mostly people are not interested in spiritual life. So they surrender to so many bogus gurus because they have material desires. There are many gurus with millions of followers, so a lot of people feel the need to worship them. No. A person worships a bogus guru because he himself is bogus. He has a bogus desire. So the problem is not so much the bogus guru. The bogus guru is supplied by Krishna. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that when someone wants to worship a demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can worship that particular demigod. So Krishna arranges for the bogus guru, he arranges for the faith in that bogus guru also to be strong, because he is simply fulfilling the desires of the living entity. So of course people can be, Srila Prabhupada also says that people can be misled. They're being misled by society's leaders, politicians, scientists, and so on. So he also uses this terminology, misled. But that is because people are foolish, they have no knowledge. So they have material desires, and then in that sense they're misled because the politicians and so on, they fulfill those material desires. So the problem is not the bogus guru. Sometimes people get into this political mindset where they want to criticize the gurus, but that's useless. You know, it's like criticizing money. It's like, money is wrong, money is evil. Well, people are not going to give up earning money just because you say it's wrong. It's useless. You have to educate people and give them a higher taste, for example, how to live a simple life in Krishna consciousness. So then people will not be so much concerned with money, not so much obsessed with using money for materialistic gain. So similarly, criticizing bogus gurus is not very productive. People should instead be educated about the value of accepting a bona fide guru and the qualifications of a bona fide guru. That positive enlightenment we must distribute, because it is actually the disciples of these bogus gurus who are the problem. The guru is just there to facilitate their desire. It's the desire of the disciple that is the issue. That's so bogus. The Krishna book is very good also for Christians, yeah. Krishna book is nice, and yeah. Or any of Prabhupada's books. Bogus guru is like buffalo wild wings, and a bona fide guru is healthy food you have to work hours on. Yeah, bogus guru is instant gratification. So people are very much accustomed. That's very true, Morgan. That's a nice realization. Quite an interesting way of expressing it, but it's, yeah, the principle is very good. Yeah, we're accustomed to immediate gratification of senses, so people don't want to do austerities. Bona fide spiritual master, acceptance thereof of a bona fide spiritual master, that is an austerity, because he is saying, he's giving rules, don't do this, do this, maybe it's something that we don't want to do. So that is not so easy. But the enjoyment, the benefit is far greater. That is, we can attain the perfection of life, but people, they don't want to do any kind of austerity, even for their... So, but they do it all the time anyway. They work so hard to enjoy, but because of a lack of knowledge, because of a lack of faith, they don't want to invest that same austerity into Krishna consciousness. So that is our duty, we have to preach. Gabriella, my question was not referring only to Krishna consciousness, but to all gurus from all various cults. The answer is the same. People are full of material desires, so that therefore they become attracted to this guru, that guru. It's not. That is just wet stool, dry stool, the varieties of gurus. It's not that one guru is more bogus than another. They're all bogus, so long they're not distributing pure Krishna consciousness. Yeah, so Puruji Prabhu is very kindly supplied. This is 721, this shloka I was referring to. I have to credit His Grace Puruji Prabhu. He has enlightened me on the deeper implication and understanding of this shloka in this context. So this is a very commonly asked question, and this shloka from Bhagavad Gita precisely clarifies it. Okay, let me just check again YouTube if there are any questions. Okay, let's see, appears to be a question. Kevin. Okay, is that Kevin from the Overground line? Hare Krishna, Kevin. Sri Krishna describes, no, because the way you're asking the question, I recognize. Sri Krishna describes the atmosphere journey in light and in darkness. Surely your destination is determined when you leave the body. Yeah, in Bhagavad Gita. But in Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada specifically says that this a devotee is not subject to these predetermined times. He depends on his Krishna consciousness. So it's dependent. If you remember Krishna, then you go to Krishna. So it's not predetermined. It's dependent on your Krishna consciousness. This devotee who's in a Cyrillic, I can't understand how to pronounce the name, but he says, or she says, right, many people stay at temple but don't follow the correct path. I read Coming Back book by Prabhupada. I like it. Very nice. Please go on reading. And if you read Srila Prabhupada's books, that will protect you from all kinds of bad association. When is TikTok coming back? I think in a few days. We were banned for 1 week. 3 days, okay. Morgan, the chapter on Jesus and Christianity and the science of self-realization is great, and Prabhupada gives his respect to God's greatest son. Nice. Yeah, you can collect. There are many nice instances where Srila Prabhupada is talking about Christianity from the Krishna conscious point of view, and also challenging the Christians. Yeah, if you want to present something to your old Christian friend, then there's lots of stuff there in Prabhupada's books. This reference to Science of Self-Realization by Morgan, that's a nice one. Alexandra, and why is the TikTok banned? Because it's very sensitive. You cannot use certain words and like that. Also, we have like tens of thousands of people coming to every live stream, and so many of them are envious, and yeah, it's difficult. It's kind of like the laws of karma. It's almost impossible to understand the intricacies. So someone is probably also trying to stop it or just trolling us. Yeah, he challenges the Christians on this point. Why, if you're following Jesus, why are you eating the animals? Because Jesus says, thou shalt not kill. So Srila Prabhupada, of course, instructed us to find the similarities between Christians and Krishna consciousness, but he also challenged them on this particular point. Yeah, TikTok. Yeah, TikTok has never seen anything like this before. I don't know what the other Hare Krishnas are doing, why they're not there on TikTok. There's like 4 billion people on TikTok or something. And there's no Hare Krishna live stream except for us. But anyway, we have broken it. People are shocked. And very successful. We have over like 150 people watching our live streams at one time. So it's very nice, but yeah, unfortunately we get banned. We have a nice Morgan Prabhu. He is a very strict moderator there, and he is, I have to give him all credit that he is nicely controlling the trolls, banning them and also addressing their questions. So we have some nice moderators. We have Morgan and Jared and Katie, I think, also. So we have a good team, but it's a lot to manage. So Yeah. Okay, so thank you everyone, all you nice devotees for coming. 19 of you stayed pretty much consistently, 15, 19, so that was encouraging. Thank you. And yeah, so how could I forget? The most recent sitcom has just been released, our Hare Krishna Bliss sitcom. This is a carefully crafted, and I have to say, absolutely hilarious. I'm of course biased because I live in this temple and I'm in that sitcom. So, of course I'm going to say it's good, but it actually is very funny. I was just watching it again last night. Very funny, some real shocking jokes there. So, I have to say there is a great dearth of Krishna conscious entertainment available in video format especially, and people are just making like these documentaries like my life as a Hare Krishna devotee. I'm sorry to say it's so boring. You can make 10 of these my life as a Hare Krishna devotee, but really we get it. You wake up early and you go to the temple. This is very entertaining. This is real sitcom with jokes, with complex storylines. It's very interesting. So our Hare Krishna sitcom is currently available on YouTube. His Grace Puruja Prabhu put the link now in the chat. And we're releasing this fairly regularly. So please kindly just go and have a look at it. I'm sure that you're going to derive some entertainment from watching this sitcom. And if you like it, also please share with your friends. Just send them the link and say, please have a look. Because, yeah, they're going to have a good laugh. They're going to like you more. If you want to become a better friend, if you want your friends to like you more, send them the sitcom. I promise. You'll become very popular amongst your friends. So Neil says he misses the star of the first show, the first episode, Daivi Shakti. Yeah, there'll be a return. There'll be a regular cycle of all the characters. I'm sure. Yep. Please share this sitcom, Prabhus. Click that link. I'm going to pin that link. And just click on it and share it. This is a revolution in the Krishna conscious entertainment space. I think that we are the only people in that space, actually. Our Bliss are the only Krishna conscious entertainers. So the rest of the world, what to speak of the devotional world, they should be aware of this amazing sitcom. Can we get some shares? Those who are watching here, please be part of our confidential team of insiders who will help other people become enlivened in their Krishna consciousness by spreading. Alexandra, Gabriella, Neil, I call upon you, please, to go there and just send this YouTube video to at least 10 friends of your own. And ask them also to share to their friends. This is the system. You share and you ask them to also share. This is a nice effect. We can get bigger production value if you help us share, Mataji, because then other people will also become maybe interested to get involved or help us financially. So, yeah, but people need to be aware of it. Only 200 views. It's very unfortunate because it's so nice, So many big swamis, this Radhanati has hundreds of thousands of views. But what value he's giving, I do not find any value. Although sometimes it is entertaining. But not so much as our sitcom. Okay, so I will end the class here. Thank you very much for watching. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Mo.